Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power of Possibilities podcast with myself and Heather MacMillian. And today we're talking about like all the fun we had over this weekend when Heather came to Cleveland. And we have two very special guests that attended the class, my kids, that are going to come on and tell like some hilarious things that happened during class that just are super awesome. Heather, how have you been since the weekend?
Oh my gosh, it's been amazing. There's just been so much more space and energy opening up. So I'm just so grateful for what we created. I mean, let's just tap into that. Like, what did we create over the weekend?
Truly, and for people who might not know access consciousness, the whole mantra is like all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory, and to empower people to know that they know and to start to trust your knowing and making choices that align with possibility. And that's what all the classes this past weekend were about. And I was telling Heather before we even went on air, like my schedule exploded. I have like a ton of extra clients, and like it's just like there's so many things that shifted for me personally. I can't even imagine like the ripple effect of what is going to be created from a little bit of possibility in Cleveland.
Well, I mean, so often we don't take a beat to kind of acknowledge what we've been choosing and creating. And so I was really wondering this week of like, wow, like what got created, what futures got created from all of these classes that we haven't acknowledged. Because then once we acknowledge that, then we can ask for more. And like, how does it get better than this?
Yeah, which is one of the other great things of access. That and my other favorite one is what else is possible. But when you say about futures, that's why we're about to bring Max and Oliver on, who are my kids. He was there for the talk to the entities. He went to the special body process to help people that have different things going on. I don't know how to talk about it.
That's
And
the
then,
best way to put
yeah,
it.
and he came for the energetic facelift, as did Oliver and my wife. And there was just like it was amazing to see the impact of the classes on the kids. And one of the things that's beautiful about access, Gary Douglas says, our children are the ones that are going to help us fix this planet. And so for
Yeah.
children under 16, like from up until 15, access classes are free, and 16 and 17 are half price. So Max and Oliver got to like take these classes, and what difference is their future going to hold as a result of having all this access under their belt. But are you ready for some fun stories? We can bring them on.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Hello. Oh, Max and Oliver, you're
Hey.
muted. There
Oh,
you go.
there you guys are.
Okay.
All right.
Hey.
So why don't you guys introduce yourself? Who's who? Because nobody except me and Heather know you.
I'm Max.
I'm Oliver.
Cool. Thank you so much for choosing to come on.
Thank
It's just so
you.
exciting.
It's so exciting.
So the very first night, it was like a talk to the entities introduction class, and we had just started talking about movies and how like movies shape our points of view about entities. And we had just mentioned The Exorcist or Poltergeist, I don't know, but why don't you, one of you two, tell the story about Oliver and what happened like right after that comment in class?
So Oliver wanted to have Coke.
And they also had Smarties. So I wanted to do an experiment.
No, he didn't. He wanted to eat the Smarties. So he put the Smartie in his mouth.
And I also wanted to do an experiment.
And then he wanted to
do an experiment.
No. And then he wanted to drink some Coke. And when he drank the Coke, he forgot the Smartie was still in his mouth. And then it started foaming in his mouth. Yes.
No.
And then Smartie fell into the Coke can. And it started coming out like a volcano.
Right. So this is from their perspective. I'm right behind them, and all I see is Oliver leaning over with like this burst of foam like all over his face and like overflowing. And I didn't know what was happening. And then Heather was at the front of the class. And what was going on from your point of view, Heather?
Well, we've just been talking about movies that portray different things, and I just could see The Exorcist. It was like right there in class.
Yeah, so like it just was very timely. And Max and Oliver, like what other things stood out to you in the class? I know I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't tell you I was going to actually ask you questions. Like, was there something in particular that you really took away from the class that you want to share with people that would change their lives? No pressure.
I think the energy of that really says it all.
Yeah, it truly does. And the other thing that I really wanted to bring up, and Max, like, is it okay that I talk about our talk during facelift when you had a stuffy nose? So before I talk about facelift, though, Heather, why don't you like kind of describe, access consciousness is this huge umbrella. We have talk to the entities, we have facelift, we have bars. When it comes to the energetic facelift, like how is that different from other energy processes from access or body processes, I should say?
Well, it's called a facelift, but it's really an energy to lift up your whole life and to allow you to show up the way you'd like to show up in the world.
Cool. And there's like a list like this long in the manual of all the different body processes that it runs. But me and Max were partners for the second trade of the day. And as I'm working on Max, he has a stuffy nose. And I was sharing with him when I was growing up and even into my adult life, every once in a while, I would get this manifestation, like this real heavy cold, but I wasn't contagious. Like I wasn't really sick. I just had like that huge stuffy nose. And I was at a funeral one time for a friend of mine who had just passed, someone who was really close to me. And right after he passed, I had the cold. I'm at the funeral and I suddenly had the awareness that what if this cold isn't a cold? What if he or someone else is trying to talk to me? And as soon as I thought that, and I kind of opened up my awareness and acknowledged him, the cold went away instantly.
Wow.
So I told, I don't even know if you knew the story, Heather, like what you're talking about. And so like,
Brilliant,
so I'm telling Max the story. And then from the entity class, from the previous 2 days that he took, we started to run the entity clearings, like truth, who are you, and all these things. And we went through them all. And then I asked Max, how's the nose? And Max, what was your response?
I said that when it went away, it was a lot better. Cool. Afterwards.
Cool. And that's when we're talking about creating possibilities. Like that's really the magic of like talk to the entities, and really every access tool is to gain more awareness so we can make choices that are going to create more possibilities. Because now every time you have a stuffy nose, those tools from that entity class, we're going to be able to go through it. You can use those to, shift and change into a different possibility, which is so cool. It was like that really is my favorite part of the class, to have that same entity. What do they call them? Entity triggers? No, entity awareness signals.
Awareness signs, and just to be present with what they are for you and to discover what they are for you is magic.
Right. And just these came through a while ago, but Max and Oliver, we had someone saying hi. We have Amber saying hi, Max and Oliver. And Magic Mike is complaining that it never lets me share this. So Magic Mike, I can help you out and share it later on. But truly, like and the other thing that I thought was pretty cool is like how much more dynamic the energy processes of access are with children in the room, even if they're not the ones working with you. And Heather, why don't you speak to that? Like what changes when there's a child in the room and why?
Well, it was just so exponentially amazing. And I'm so grateful to you guys for showing up and for choosing it. I mean, one of you were asking about highlights of the weekend. One of them for me was looking over and watching Oliver run the process on his mom. I mean, it was just so beautiful.
No, Heather said she wanted to take a picture, but she didn't want to take away from the moment.
Yeah, I didn't want to, interfere in that energy.
Yeah. And the other thing with children, with bars and facelift and any body process, they like where it would take me maybe 90 minutes to run it on Heather or on another adult. Children, because they have so few points of view, they tend to run processes way more quickly. And so like Max and Oliver were done in a short period of time. And I had been in a class with Heather before with bars where we were like almost going overtime because like the energies are running so long. But with the children in the room for both things, like the processes were running so quickly that some people, instead of just getting 2 trades in, were able to get a 3rd trade in. It was really amazing that like, what would it take for all of us to have that, that blank slate or the place of no point of view or interesting point of view as a child.
Yeah, I mean, and just the willingness to play with the energy and to leap right in and just know what you know. Wow.
Yeah. So Max and Oliver, before I let you guys go, because I know you guys are going to be heading over to Grandma and Grandpa's here in a little bit, is there anything else you'd like to share from your experience over the weekend, from any part of it? And don't talk about well, you could talk about anything you want. I'm not going to tell you what to talk about.
Yeah, the candy was amazing. I loved the Halloween candy.
Oh,
on
actually,
November 1st.
something else to share. Max and Oliver both also took the How to Become Any workbook with Heather. Not only that, Oliver had volunteered multiple times to actually do the reading from the book, and they had a money experience during trick or treating. Would one of you want to talk about how cool that was?
We were passing a house and there were no chairs there, and then we went to their neighbors. We got the candy from there, and then we went all the way around, and then when we got back to the house,
And we were like across the street from that house that we were originally at.
A man came walking over and he said, "I missed you, so here you go." And then he just gave me and Max both $20.
Yeah. So we got $20 each and 15.9 pounds of candy.
Yeah, they get home and they weigh this with the luggage scale, and then they proceed to organize it. They've never been this organized before regarding candy. But the other cool thing that I loved, when they would go up to a house that had one of the little bowls that said "take one," and someone had taken all the candy or they were already out, some of the candy that they had that maybe that wasn't their favorite or whatever, they would put back in the bowl so the next people that came were going to get candy. I thought that was really cool.
That's brilliant. So
Cool.
much fun.
Really fun. And Amber was just saying, weigh the candy, laugh out loud. Oh yeah, it was quite the experience. It took them a long time to organize this. It's all in Ziploc bags now. It's pristine and pretty. It's really great. But they had a blast, and Max had a blast in class. He was, I honestly, Max, I thought you might be there and kind of goof off or want to go in the room and watch something afterwards. But he was like present with class, reading along in the book, nodding to the clearings as they came up. He was fully present. And it was amazing. And when Oliver, the two classes you came to, other than the brief incident with the Smarties, he was fully present as well. And it was just really so cool to see you in the class and like how you showed up.
Yeah, and I loved the Smartie incident because it was like we were starting off on this like kind of serious mode, and then that showed up, and I was like, yeah, it's time to lighten things up.
Oh, but speaking of lighting things up, the other funny thing that happened is my friend Brian at the last minute decides to come Friday night and Saturday night. He at last minute he decides to come both times, and so I message him like, "Well, it's cool that you're coming. Just so you know, everybody dressed up." And nobody dressed up. Nobody was in costume. So he comes in dressed as Indiana Jones with a whip and like a machete and everything.
Costume.
Yeah, it was great. And like he comes in and he sees that nobody else is dressed up, and then he proceeds to go, "Oh no!" And he called me some names, which I really received in good taste. I earned those names that he called me. And then the next day, I told him the same thing when he decides to come. And I think this time he pretty much knew he was walking into something, but I think he liked being the surprise. And it was such a shift in the energy
of surprise. Yeah,
and not taking things too seriously, because like we really talk about how much play there could be in the world, and how much lighter that would be.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I mean, what a contribution to that you guys were. It's so much fun.
Cool. Max and Oliver, anything else from the weekend would you like to?
From anything.
I know there was a lot. Like we're just giving people like the super highlights. Now the big question, Max and Oliver, are you going to come to my bars class on November 21st?
Ooh. The $1 billion question.
You will. All right. So if you guys want to maybe see a Smartie incident in person for yourself, if you go to emergencybeing.com, you can check out the bars class. That's going to be November 21st. Max and Oliver will be there. I'll be there. I had a couple people sign up last night, so it's going to be a great group. And it's more than just running bars. It's like a community of people that are all looking to, create a greater set of possibilities for themselves and for the planet. That's like kind of Access is the purpose of Access. At the very end, Gary Douglas says to create a greater possibilities for yourself and for all humankind, so all humankind can thrive. It's really just I love what Access is doing, especially Actions for Futures, and maybe speak a little bit about that. I didn't know about that until this weekend when you kind of told me about what Access was doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really to create a possibility, and it's actually a little blurb about it is in the back of the manuals. If you'd like to know more about it, if you come to the bars class, and it's just a different possibility for a sustainable future.
Yeah, and they do basically. I think she said it all. That's pretty good. And to answer Amber's question, is it a beginner class? Access bars, there's
Absolutely.
no prerequisite. You can come and you don't have to have any previous access experience whatsoever. You get a manual, you get handouts. I do make a recording of the class, which you get so you can go back and re-listen to it, or you can go back and make fun of my voice and where I say something silly. Actually, I don't care if you do that. But truly, I look to give you everything that you require, and then we have a practitioner only night on the third Thursday, and that's what I said. It's like a community as well of a whole bunch of people that come together, and we do exchange body processes, and it's a lot of fun. We may start opening up our practitioner night to the public as a paid clinic, so you might be able to come in and get like a
Wow.
90-minute body process. So if we can trade, but if someone comes in and they just want a body process run, we're going to kind of turn it into a hybrid clinic night, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I got that idea from Heather's class. It was in the back of the facelift book. I'm like, oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And to just be able to lay on a table and receive those energies. I mean, would your body like that?
I think so. I know Max and Oliver are down for it. Cool. Well, Max and Oliver, before I take you off the stream, was there any final thing you want to say?
No, I don't think
No?
so.
Cool. Oliver?
Happy Veterans Day and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank
Oh,
you.
cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll let you guys go, and we'll see you when I see you.
Have too much fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's so much fun to have them on.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think like our whole purpose of coming on today was really to kind of just give the energy of the
Yeah.
change of a class of access consciousness. Where else could we go with our conversation today? Are we pretty? I feel like I did most of the talking this time, but I was very excited.
Well, once again, I'm so grateful. And what did we create that we haven't acknowledged? And what else is possible?
Truly, what else is possible? And that's a great note to end on. Always ask
Yeah.
that question because it breaks out of the cycles that repeat, like asking why. What else is possible is so key for that upward spiral of possibility. That is our corny rhyme. I love it though. Speaking of corn, I did not get you candy corn the whole weekend. I will have it for you next time when we bring you in for foundation.
Thank you. Yay.
Cool. All right. But thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yes.
Please go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, check out the replays. It all helps us out. And, share the videos with those who you feel would enjoy them. Be the invitation to consciousness. And we will catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.